This one has been living in there a very, very long time.
For years, the world believed one man was surviving completely alone in the most dangerous places on Earth, jumping from cliffs, drinking filthy water, eating insects to stay alive. He became the face of survival television, a global icon watched by millions. But behind the cameras, there was another reality, a reality most viewers never saw. Was Bear Grylls truly surviving alone in the wild? Or was television selling an illusion? Tonight, we uncover the hidden truth. His real name is Edward Michael Grylls, born in 1974 in London, England, a family with military roots running deep. His father, a Royal Marine. His childhood shaped by discipline, nature, and the quiet belief that hardship builds character. From an early age, he climbed, he explored, he tested himself against the outdoors in ways most children never imagined. At 18, he joined the British Army, trained with the Special Air Service, the SAS, one of the most elite and feared special forces units on the planet. The selection process alone breaks men who have spent their entire lives preparing for it. Bear Grylls passed. Then came the accident. A parachute malfunction during a training jump in Zambia. 3 fractured vertebrae. Surgeons said recovery alone would take years. Returning to active service seemed impossible. But 18 months later, while he was at 23 years old, he stood at the summit of Mount Everest, the youngest Briton ever to reach it. In 2006, Discovery Channel launched a survival series unlike anything audiences had seen before. The premise was brutally simple. Drop one man, with minimal equipment, into some of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. The Amazon, the Sahara, the Alaskan wilderness, the Himalayas, the Scottish Highlands in the dead of winter, and watch him survive. Bear Grylls was that man, and he did not hold back. He ate live insects, drank water squeezed from elephant dung, skinned animals with bare hands, leapt from waterfalls, swam through glacial rivers, navigated cliff faces with nothing but rope and nerve, and millions of people all over the world watched in absolute transfixed disbelief. Man vs. Wild became one of the most watched survival programs in television history. At its peak, the show reached an estimated 1.2 billion viewers across 180 countries. Presidents mentioned it. Celebrities appeared on it. Children pretended to be Bear Grylls in their backyards. He was not just a television host, he was a movement, a symbol. An argument that one human being, stripped of comfort and dropped into the wild, could conquer anything. The world believed him completely. The world had not yet looked behind the cameras. Here's something television rarely explains to its audience. There's no such thing as a solo survival show. Everywhere Bear Grylls went, a crew followed, camera operators, sound engineers, a director, a safety coordinator, a medic, producers with satellite phones and pre-planned evacuation protocols, all arranged before the first scene was ever filmed. This is not, by itself, a scandal. Every documentary requires a crew. Every wilderness shoot requires a safety infrastructure. No network would legally or morally permit a human being to be genuinely abandoned in a life-threatening environment. But here's where the story becomes complicated. The show was sold, explicitly, powerfully, on the promise of authenticity, that Bear Grylls was truly alone, that what you were watching was real survival, happening in real time, with real stakes. If he had a real emergency, we were never more than a few hundred meters away. That was always the arrangement. Former production crew member quoted in media reports. The audience watching at home had no way of knowing this. They saw one man, alone, surviving. The gap between that image and that reality would eventually become impossible to ignore. In 2007, everything changed. Mark Weinert, a survival consultant who had worked directly on Man vs. Wild, spoke to the Sunday Times. What he described shattered the show's carefully constructed mythology. He revealed that in several episodes, Bear Grylls had not spent nights outdoors at all. He had checked into hotels and lodges, comfortable accommodations. While the audience believed he was huddled in a debris shelter fighting hypothermia, he was sleeping in a bed. He revealed that survival shelters seen on screen had been pre-built or significantly pre-prepared by the production team before filming began. He revealed that some of the wild animal encounters had been arranged or staged for better television. He revealed that a river Bear Grylls appeared to cross alone and in danger had a camera raft waiting just out of frame. What had seemed like the ultimate test of human endurance now looked, to many, like an elaborate performance, designed not to inform, but to entertain. Not to teach survival, but to manufacture the feeling of it. Discovery Channel responded with a statement acknowledging that some elements had been staged. They added a disclaimer to new episodes, but disclaimers are quiet things. The spectacle had already done its work. The trust, once broken, is difficult to fully rebuild. Over the years, investigators and former crew members cataloged a growing list of reconstructed moments. A swimming scene in Hawaii, filmed not in open ocean but in controlled waters near a tourist beach. A supposedly wild horse Bear Grylls rode bareback across open land, actually a domesticated animal from a nearby ranch. A raft built from scratch in the jungle, assembled in large part by the production team beforehand. Ice caves, snake encounters, cliff jumps. Each of these, examined closely, revealed layers of production engineering invisible to the viewer at home. This does not mean Bear Grylls has no genuine skill. His military background is real. His Everest ascent is documented fact. His physical capability in many of these environments is demonstrably real, but capability and authenticity are not the same thing. Television had taken a genuinely capable man and built a mythology around him. And somewhere in that construction, the line between education and illusion dissolved. The show teaches you the spirit of survival. Whether every detail is real, that is a different question entirely. Here's the hard truth about real survival. It is not exciting. Not in the television sense of the word. Real survival is slow decision-making. Conserving energy while you are still healthy. Staying in one place, not moving dramatically through terrain. Signaling for rescue, not refusing it. Building shelter before dark, not scrambling at midnight for dramatic effect. Real survival experts will tell you, if you find yourself in a genuine wilderness emergency, the single most dangerous thing you can do is behave like a television survival host. Drinking urine is a last resort, not a routine. Eating insects provides negligible calories relative to the effort. Crossing a raging river when you can walk around it is recklessness, not resourcefulness. Television survival and real survival are not the same discipline. Les Stroud, Survivorman, had been doing it for years, genuinely solo, carrying his own cameras, spending real nights alone in real locations. His episodes were slower, grittier, less cinematic, and among those who understood survival, far more respected. The audience, it turned out, was more sophisticated than the industry had assumed. Of reality, which is something entirely different. Media studies researcher, University of Southern California. The editing room is where survival television is truly won or lost. Not in the wilderness, in the editing room. A 3-second pause before a decision becomes 10 seconds of ominous music and a close-up. A rope that never slipped becomes a rope that almost slipped. A 20-minute river crossing becomes 2 minutes of cinematic near disaster. This is craft. Undeniable craft. But craft applied to illusion is still, at its core, illusion. Bear Grylls did not disappear after the controversy. In many ways, he thrived. He acknowledged some of the staging. He embraced transparency in interviews, leaning into what the show had always truly been. Entertainment with a survival framework. Not a field guide, not a manual. An experience. We live in an age that craves authenticity and manufactures it simultaneously. We know, somewhere in our awareness, that the reality television we consume is constructed, edited, shaped, and yet the emotional response it provokes in us is entirely real. The inspiration is real. The fear is real. The wonder is real. So what does that make the thing itself? Is a lie that moves you less true than a truth that leaves you cold? A lie that moves you less true than a truth that leaves you cold? Bear Grylls never claimed in the end to be anything other than what he was, a man with extraordinary skill, placed into carefully designed situations, performing an idea of survival for an audience that needed to believe in it. The cameras were always there, the crew was always close, the hotels were sometimes booked, but the mountain was real. The SAS selection was real. The broken vertebrae were real. The summit of Everest, reached by a young man told he might never walk properly again. That was very, very real. The question this documentary leaves you with is not whether Bear Grylls deceived you. The question is what you were looking for when you turned the television on, and whether you found it. Television does not show you the world. It shows you what the world feels like.